In this Task 3A Limbo lesson, we're going to look at Synth 1. Now Synth 1 is also a doubled up part as well, so we're going to probably have to add another part and kind of gel it with something else as well. We'll see how that goes, but for now we're just going to look at Synth 1. And this is a really unique lead instrument, and it's kind of playing this solo section. It's such a nice sound. It starts at 61 and then it comes back in at bar 89. It's got this kind of glide effect on it that makes it transition between notes really smoothly. So you haven't got these big jumps, but it's also got this kind of modulating sound where it's kind of waving from the note, much like a vocal would do, where it's kind of on the note, but it's kind of wobbling just off a little bit and kind of gliding around. So it's a really nice sound. It was quite complex to create this actually, but yeah, I think you're going to find that we've got some really nice results from this. So let's just show this first off. So here's the notation for this. I've just added this extra C4 note just to kind of help it bounce against it. So you may feel that you need this, you may feel that you don't. It's just something that I've added just to kind of, for that first note, just to make it glide a little bit better into the actual note that we want. Now, the instrument that we've used is this EXS24, and we've got this vintage Strat. Some of the changes that I've had to kind of implement here to kind of get it right, and you're going to have to work this out for yourself. But first is this glide setting. I've just brought this up so it can just go onto the note and waver from the note. So that's something you do have to look at, is the glide setting. Also, I've adjusted the attack envelope as well, so it kind of eases into it even more. Some of the other things you're going to have to look at are probably the LFO settings and some of these pitch frequencies as well, combined with LFO1. So I'll share this screenshot so you can have a little look, but it is working from this vintage Strat sound. Other things that I've been looking at is the EQ. We've had to adjust this. It's quite a high frequency sound, but it's got a lot of mid frequencies kind of built into it, so we've had to look at cutting out some of the higher frequency sounds and kind of making it more of a muddy texture, and that's why we've got these two big dips here. You may feel that's appropriate, you may feel it's not, and you're going to have to look at the way that you EQ, but that's what we've currently got. The next one we're going to use is this phaser sound, and that's helping us kind of modulate between the notes, and that's a really effective sound that we've got there. Then we've got something that's going to make it kind of stand out, and that's the delay. And we're finding that delays and reverbs across this whole mix are massive actually, and it's something you're going to need to consider lots, is making sure you've got the appropriate. This track has got that lush spatial feel, and that is generally created by delays and reverbs. And as you can see here, this is my delay setting, and you can see it's ridiculously high, and I'm just using my stereo delay that was using from one of the previous lessons. And then I've also got this reverb that we're using a Space Designer with this big Prince Hall 1. Just a nice big sound. That's just the standard preset as well. As for the panning, because it's a lead instrument, we felt that it's appropriate to leave it in the center. You may want to check that. And it's also quite high in the mix as well. However, we have used the attack envelope to make it glide in on that initial note, and I've also added some extra automation here to help it glide into that note as well. You'll notice that I've got this first solo section higher than I've got this section on the chorus as well, so that kind of something you're going to have to think about, and that's with all of your tracks. As you go through this, you will have to manipulate, and we'll talk more about this in the mixing stage, but you are going to have to manipulate how the dynamics of each instrument change throughout the track. So let's have a look at theirs, and then we'll do a compare and contrast before I let you guys crack on with your own. Okay, so that's their one, and I will just play my whole track because you'll be able to hear this one easily enough. So there's a couple of things that I want to change. This first one, although the note lasts for as long as it should, the actual sustain and release envelope of my sound isn't actually cutting it. It needs to be a bit longer. You could hear it kind of faded out at this point, but on their track it literally went all the way to the end. And you'll also notice that in their track there was some doubling up, and their delay was working a lot more effectively in this point. So that may need some delay automation where you just bring the send dial up on the delay and down at different points to get that doubling effect. So I'm going to have to look at that again. But as you can see, it's not a bad sound. It's a good starting point to develop from. Okay, so get those notes in, and I'll see you in the next lesson.